Good evening and welcome to the first financial purposes meeting of this year. We start off with public question time. There are no public in the room, no one on Zoom. Following on from that, I would like to say that gentlemen, if you would like to take your ties off, please take them off, and if you're hot, please take your jackets off. There is no need to do that today. It is a very hot evening, so please feel comfortable. Right, moving on to the agenda then. Apologies for absence. Apologies are from Councillor Whitaker. He has a personal commitment. I vote that we accept those apologies. May I have a second? Thank you. In favour? Yep. Thank you, everybody. And moving on to item 2, to receive the minutes of the meeting held on the 16th of March, or meeting one held on the 16th of March 2022 and on the 15th of May 2022. I'd like to propose those for accuracy. If I can have a second. Thank you. Are there any questions? Move forward to approve. Thank you, everyone. I guess silence. Measure this one. We want to receive any declarations of interest. Are there any declarations to declare first? Fabulous. Okay. Moving on to Chairman's announcements. Item 4. Armed Forces Day is coming up on the 24th of June. That's from 11 AM to 3 PM at the Meridian Hall. For anyone that please come along and support that event, you will be very welcome. The town clerk is actually doing a piece of work on the Armed Forces Covenant that the council signed up to a few years ago now. She'll be surveying forces families to determine the number that we have in the parish and whether their needs as a community are being addressed by council and other services. The survey will be launched at the event and a report will come back to the committee with the results later on this year. And also, hot off the press this afternoon, St Barnabas, the clerk has spoken to the church today. The papers are finally signed. They were signed last weekend, and this is just with the solicitors to do the final completion, which fingers crossed may well be tomorrow. That's the latest on a phone call from this afternoon. So we're finally getting along with somewhere there. I would also like to just say that obviously part of our team here at the council offices, Alice Burrows, has been away on holiday and has got engaged. So I'd like to send our congratulations along to Alice from us all. Congratulations to her. Okay. Item 5 is to receive a list of approved payments for March, April and May 2023. This is Appendix A. These are a list of payments for approval. So these are just for noting, but if there are any questions, Dan is in the room if there are any questions. So any questions for? Yes, Councillor Bercy.
Thank you. Just a couple of points. Could I just ask what the new consumer unit is of £4,675?
I can give you some sort of an answer to that. It's a new consumer unit that was fitted in Meridian Hall, where essentially they had to have an electrical rewiring upgrade. I couldn't tell you any more than that. Yeah, I mean, a consumer unit is basically a fuse box where you might have one in your house where you could isolate various different circuits within the house. So you could have your upstairs lights on, for example, and you could control all that from your consumer unit.
Another thing that we're doing with those, I was giggling because I asked the same question exactly just before the meeting actually. There's something else that we are doing with those is we're moving to I forget what the anachronism is now, but it's a circuit breaker. So that by having a circuit breaker set, as part of the system, we no longer have to go through the PAT testing process, which was something we were having to do annually. So moving on to these new circuit breakers, we can actually remove that responsibility of having to do that. So that's part of the ongoing upgrades on the building.
Thank you. The other point I wanted to know, and he's actually sitting next to me, there's an item here for mayoral picture scaffolding. I didn't realise he's hit this giddy heights. I wonder what that was for.
I don't know, but I'm terrified.
Instead, the work of moving, taking the pictures.
Yeah.
It wasn't for this particular year. But you indeed were one of the ones that benefited from it, Mrs. Duffy. All of the mayoral photographs have been taken down to make more space. What we've done is we've moved some of the older ones into groups of 4. Right. So off they all came. That meant scaffolding because obviously they're on the wall in the stairwell.
Yeah.
Highlighted onto the
Not at all.
To carry my ego.
Thank you for those explanations.
One thing I'd like to say is that the energy prices seem to be doing well, so touch the wood, and we seem to be doing well on the energy prices, so let's fingers crossed that remains in a positive trajectory.
Absolutely. Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
Oh, are we happy to know those? No, thank you. Right, item 6 is the town council finances, the position statement. Again, this is for noting, and Dan is here if you've got any questions on those.
The only thing I would just add on that is just to say, obviously, normally at every F&GP, I do put the fairly extensive full income and expenditure report attached with the report. But in the June one, there's very little point in doing that because you've only really got 2 months of data, April and May. But yeah, that's why it's not there.
Yes.
Is there any specific reason for the 100,000? Because is that the St Barnabas? It's 95,000, isn't it?
Yeah. The reduction in the total balances compared to last year.
Business reserve.
Yeah, so essentially we purchased, we've made the purchase in this financial year of St Barnabas Hall, which is obviously a huge factor of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Any more questions? You happy to know those? Thank you. Right, item 7 is performance indicators. This is to receive a report on the current KPIs for invoices and absences. This is for noting. Is there anything anyone wants to comment on those? Obviously, we can see that the sick days increased, but that's really only a significant one. No question? No. Okay, happy to note?
Noted.
Thank you. Swiftly on recommendations for the committee. Any recommendations from the standing committees with finance indication about to be considered at this point? So we have the following recommendations from A&T. There are none, are there at present? But I've recommended some public services. So public services, minute 27, to recommend the Finance and General Purposes Committee that we purchase that the second SID to be purchased. Minute 23, to recommend to Finance and General Purposes Committee the budget allocation to be set aside in 24-25 to incorporate active travel week, bike week, into the calendar and to develop a number of initiatives around this. And so I'm recommending that we accept those. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Would anyone like to discuss those? So the first one is the purchase of the second SID. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. The technology of SIDS has moved on quite a fair bit, and it's possible now to buy them with automatic number plate recognition display. And I just suggest that it's something that we could look at on this occasion as well. I think the technology has now brought those to the point where they can be battery operated. The major problem had been that they had to be connected to a proper power supply.
Yes, so these ones that we're looking at, the ones we're looking at purchasing is going to be solar rather than battery to give it longevity. Whether that fits in with that and fits in with the budget, Town Clerk, can you advise on that? I know that
All I can advise is we need to look into ANPR. So we know that we have a quote for solar powered one, which will come in within the budget that's been allocated. But we'll look into it. I'm told that there are all types of rules around ANPR because of police and how that works. So I just need to look into it and make sure that we can do it without overstepping any rules. And if we can't do it at the moment, then obviously it's something for the future. But we'll before we order anything, we will go down that road and have a look.
If I can, Mr. Chairman, it would fit in well with the West Sussex transport plan, which recognises a need to control behaviour on rat runs. And certainly the idea there is that the police are looking into more ANPR cameras as well.
so we'll look into that and look at it within the cost within the budget. Thank you. Councillor Belsey.
Oh, thank you, Tammy. Yes, no, prior to the potholes of the winter, speeding was one of the most items that fills my inbox, and so I will be very pleased to support another speeding case device. I know they are need to be handled with care, shall we say, to ensure that they are sort of continue working, because there have been a number of incidents of those. So hopefully it'll be robust enough to be able to deal with sort of moving around. But I think everybody in the town will appreciate a second.
I think the idea of having two, they need to be moved around less and then more static, which would give them some longevity. So that's why there was the desperate need for the second one to be purchased. So thank you. It is, I think it's the right way forward.
Yeah.
So on that one then, so if I can, we've had a second, can I move to the accept to propose that one? All in favour? Thank you. Thank you. All right, the second one is to think about the budgeting for 24-25 to incorporate active travel week, bike week, into the calendar next year and month of initiatives. We've had a seconder for that, so that's now open for discussion. Do I have anybody that wants to say anything on that and lead on that?
Yes, sorry, did you want to include the bike comment as well?
Yes.
Okay, so part of that minute 28 was in connection with the public services meeting previously.
So I need to add that too, actually. I didn't say that at the beginning, so let me clarify that for those that I didn't say it for. So we talked about the bike week, and also there was a recommendation to come forward to us as a committee from public services to recommend the exploration of hiring bikes for a trial, but for people to come and hire the bike. So we'd have bikes in situ where people that can have the app and then go and hire the bike. So it was looking to move forward with that as well. Councillor Odell, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so basically it's really just to consider active travel as a more prominent position within the council, which is something I'm very passionate about, as you all know. And also the bike hire scheme fits nicely in with Forest Row. They already have an existing scheme there as well, which works really well. And it would be a very exciting, very positive, and actually very welcome from the feedback that I've been getting from the community. A great scheme to be involved with and trial. There are some additional costs that we're just exploring with regards to the actual setup of the where the bikes are based, but it's not an extortionate amount of money, and it will give us an opportunity, therefore, to test this scheme. And I personally think it's going to be successful. I think from the feedback that I'm getting, and from there we can then base our decision on proper data about expanding it, and also potentially to e-bike hire as well.
Any questions?
Thank you, Tammy. I wasn't unfortunate at public services, but I'm aware last weekend there was an excellent typical maths bike ride which had well over 100 people cycling around the town. Would that be expected to be a feature of Bike Week? I was just wondering how many there might be a year. Marketing and comms of that type of this week, I'm just wondering, is that sort of really what we're looking to do, and what actually the features of it might be? And I would have thought bikes near the station must, as we look to expand our tourism in the town, there must be a complement between tourism and biking. I'm just sort of hoping that that's all being looked after. But if you've got anything positive to be able to comment on those things. I think that'd be really good.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much. Yes, and so on Sunday there was an excellent community event. There was over 140 people there actually. It was a fantastic, fantastic afternoon. And I think it just reinforced my belief that actually there is a demand actually for people within the town to actually use a different mode of transport and cycle and walk and things like that, which all fits beautifully with the work that we've already done with the LC WIP as well, and some new developments within the council structure as well. So that's one side of it. In terms of Bike Week, as an example, as a council, yes, it really would be comms and promotional aspect. Bike Week is predominantly, the one in June is predominantly for businesses to encourage their staff to cycle to work rather than drive if they can. And the idea would be really for us to, as an example, to link with EGBA as well and get a number of these registered businesses involved and tie that in with working with the council and enabling the staff to cycle more. We would then have a promotional event here at East Court for those that take part, and some great PR for it from the council side of it, and also it's great for the businesses in East Grinstead as well. So that's that, and then on top of that there's some other initiatives as well, which are I don't know whether I should talk about that now, Chair, or
I think we'll start next week about the bike route.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think we can.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does. Okay. But critical mass will coincide with the Bike Week.
Yes, I mean that's something that I took on personally, but yes, it is something that we could actually, as a council group, get more involved with, and it could be something that we bring into it. It's really
aligned.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Simon.
So yeah, just to sort of second my comments that I made at public services and what's been said tonight. Critical mass was a huge success, and Councillor Odie's single-handed work really created that. I think with increased council momentum and visibility, it could be even better. But it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The idea of the bike hire I find really exciting. As a council, I think it's something that's really quite an easy win as a council to provide something really noticeable, really beneficial. I think it will start obviously as a small trial, but I could see it being really big and really popular with e-bikes. Whatever you can do, I think it's fully supported. So yeah, thank you for bringing it forward.
Okay, do you have any more questions? Okay, yes.
Just on the point about hire bikes, just interested to know whether or not I understand that some of these the services are based on apps where you just leave the bike anywhere. And I think that we should explore whether that would be desirable or whether we're going to be going from fixed point to fixed point. And so the thing is locked into some sort of case.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Yes, no, they're properly docked bikes. They're not like the line bikes where you can pick them up and drop them off on pavement. And no, they are point to point, very much so. And you're billed by the hour, or you can pay a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription, which gives you hourly usage, increased hourly usage of the bike. But you have to bring it back to a dock.
Any more questions? Okay. So I proposed it. We've had a second. Can we move to those in favour of supporting this? Thank you. Thank you. And it was very, very well received at public services the other night. Our other one from public services is in principle to support the devolution of some roads to the 3 towns, such as pothole filling, if the business case is proven, and financial general purposes to be able to allocate appropriate budgets. This is promoting at the moment, but it's something that's being looked forward to. I know Town Clerk has been working with the 3 councils
Yeah, if you'd like me to just pick up on that,
Yes, please.
Chair. Since Public Services, we have heard back from West Sussex County Council to say that at this point in time, they are not looking at devolving any of this back down into the town councils. They're looking at us doing some type of report back exercise, which we talked about at A&T last week. But so really at this point in time, I don't think we're asking for any budget allocation. It's more just about noting the position, and if West Sussex change their mind, then obviously that might be something to come back.
Okay, so that's for noting. Right, moving on to item 9, delegated decisions. There are no delegated decisions at present, so this is just for noting as well. Right, item 10. Item 10, approval of the annual review of effectiveness of internal control. So this is to approve the annual review. This is a statutory statement for the end of the year accounts, along with the external audit inspection. We are delighted to advise yet again we are an unqualified audit, meaning that our finances and governance procedures are all correct, examined and in place. This one is to note, so this is for noting, and I'm sure you've read it. It's appendix C and D. Are there any questions that the committee would like to ask Dan? There's quite a lot of information in those appendix, but I don't know if there's anything anyone wants to ask them, and they are pretty informative and explanatory.
I don't have a question, Chair, but I would just like to congratulate Town Clerk Dan and everybody involved really on a really good job done. Really fantastic.
Thank you.
So yeah, well done. It was really good to have a very positive audit. And again,
Yeah,
so
thanks.
it's catch off to you. So thank you. That's for noting. Thank you. Right, item 11, the annual return and statements of annual accounts. This is where we have to reply to the questions on the statutory return. This is the annual governance accountability return 2022-23. The officers prepared the papers and the committee of the council have to vote and submit these as stated. Dan is here to explain any detail. We do not have to vote on this, but we do need to, I have to make some proposals and some recommendations. So I would like to propose to recommend to the council to approve the annual governance and accountability return for 2022-2023 by A, confirming yes to questions 1 to 8 and not applicable to question 9 as set out in the annual government statement section 1 contained in appendix E of this committee's papers dated the 15th of June 2023, and to agree that this is now signed by the chairman and the town clerk. B, by accepting the accounting statements section 2 as set out in appendix F of our F&GB papers dated the 15th of the 6th 2023. Please may I have a second? Thank you, Vice Chair. Are there any questions? Thank you very much. All in favour?
That's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Right. We sign it now or later.
Oh, we'll do it after the meeting.
Thank you. Right. Right. Item 12, council's allowance claimed in 22-23, appendix G. This is to advise of the amounts that were claimed by councils during that year. This is the annual report and it's just for noting. We are required to publish this under the Transparency Act, so it needs to be noted. Thank you for noting. Thank you. Item 13, annual staff and training report. This report has advised on the training undertaken and the statements as required under transparency regulations for local councils regarding the salaries. Again, this is for noting, but it is an annual requirement. I would just like to say that we've done a lot of training, a lot of which is statutory training, so well done to the team for getting it all done. It seems a lot of training for a lot of people, and certainly the new staff seem to have undertaken a lot for compliance, so well done to the team. Thank you. Item 14 is the working groups and subcommittees for 23-24. agreed for the working councils for this civic year. I have a relisted thing for these because it was I got myself in a tizzy. So the working groups are item 14, and these are the revised ones. The revised ones are on the table for you. Do you need to read them out, or are you happy to read them and take the one block? I would like to propose these as they stand. Please may I have a second? Thank you, Vice Chair.
Can I ask a question?
And now we can ask questions.
If our interested members are allowed to maybe come along, just not as voting members, but just
Yes.
And if they want to,
They can ask the chair of that committee if they wish to speak.
Thank you.
Yes. Councillor Odie.
Yes, sorry, thank you, Chair. I was under the impression that the environmental sustainable travel was a subcommittee, not a working group.
I did ask you that the other day.
I thought I'd answered it.
You did, you said it's working group.
I thought I did it. That one should be a subcommittee.
Yeah.
Okay.
That should be a subcommittee. So that will be edited in the minutes and corrected as a subcommittee.
Thank you.
So so I need to recommend that. I re-recommend that now as a proposal. Changing that.
No, what we do is Councillor Brody proposes that as an amendment. So
Oh,
that
I suppose that's an amendment.
and somebody seconds
And I'm
that,
happy to second that.
and you vote on that bit.
And now,
Lovely.
thank you.
And then you're back to substantive. So you can continue with
Right.
those questions.
Thank you. Yes, councillor.
My non-member of this committee probably discussing this out on the budget working group.
Well, I apologize for that. So I thought I'd spoken to you on that. I've spoken to,
Some, yeah, the environmental and sustainable travel working group is there, yes.
apologies, I thought I'd spoken to you about it. Do you not wish to be on it? Unfortunately, we have to ensure that all parties are covered,
Yeah.
and I'm afraid it was you or your colleague.
And naturally, obviously. That's fine.
Although it had been in the papers that was sent out a week ago, so
Yeah.
oh, you would have got them actually. I apologise.
Yeah.
You would have got them.
Yeah.
So apologies for that.
Just to confirm, Chair, that the rule of substitution works the same with working groups as is. So you can always send your colleague along. It's not a problem. And also, can I just be really clear?
Yes.
Because the comment was made from the councillor about can anybody attend? Absolutely, yes, you can. But working groups are not necessarily publicised in the same way that subcommittees and committees are. So if you're interested in the workings of a particular working group, I would suggest that you speak to somebody on that group to find out when they're going to be meeting.
Yes,
and
because they won't be
request for
publicised.
that.
Okay.
On that, so the chair is obviously chairing one group in terms of who speaks or subcommittees. Is that are they appointed by their own individual subcommittees? So it's down to them to decide who.
The very first meeting, the chairman will be determined and the terms of reference for the working group.
Okay, are there any more questions? No. Okay, can we vote to move forward with the amended version? Thank
That's
you.
carried.
I knew that one would stumble me, didn't I? Okay. Now, item 15 is the police station. This is page 7. Consider whether the council wish to revise their bid to purchase the old police station on East Court when it goes to market. The report is on page 7 for you. It's really at the moment there isn't a motion, a proposal to move forward to purchase this. Is there anybody that wishes to propose that we purchase this?
Chairman, perhaps if you throw it open for discussion generally first,
Yeah,
with somebody bringing
yeah.
up a motion
Okay.
at the end of that, maybe?
So, thoughts, please. Hands first.
As we discussed when we had the tour of the site a month or so ago, I mean, the issue really is what it's used for. That's sort of needed before we do much else, isn't it? Except we've all got the same very short amount of time to decide.
It feels a little bit, we put a proposal in a few months ago, as you see in the report, and it was turned down. And that was to take it off the market to give us time to put all those action plans, business plans, financial conditions and everything in place and things like that. And that was turned down flat. And obviously there are some issues that they're going to have. They don't have easy access and there's a partition wall. And they were giving us the heads up saying we're going to put it on the open market in a month, last month decide, well, it's a little bit like putting your hand behind your back and making you feel that you should be rushing into it for fear that it's going to be for something else. I feel it's not like the council now, the cost of it, because there is no value to it at the moment. We don't know what it's valued at. So I don't propose that we move forward, but any other comments would be welcome. Yes, Councillor Gibson. Councillor Darcy.
We've got 2 points on this. The first is that we may regret what it becomes used for if indeed it is sold on the commercial market. And the second point is that the government is changing the rules on hope value. And it strikes me that there's a fair degree of hope value in the proposal that it was 1.2 million. I just wonder whether or not that means that, a offer back on similar terms as before would now find favour.
Well, strangely, I was about to say I would support probably the offer that we put in before. On the grounds that also property are shifting at the moment, interest rates have gone up, values are only coming down. I think it's quite a reasonable offer that we put in before, and we had some good plans for what we could actually do with that site. So I would be keen that we perhaps don't move it forward, but maybe we emphasise that offer is still there.
Thank you, Councillor Odie, and then the comment.
Oh, do you want to go first? You're probably going to say what I'm going to say.
Well, I might change my mind now. I hear what Councillor Belsley said, and I think we should not do anything. I think we should wait. I think the value could drop even more than that offer. I don't think we can actually afford to put that offer back in now, changing finances and changing the budget. I just think we just, I don't know how we'd fund it. I think the interest rates have gone, exactly that, the interest rates have gone through the roof now. I think we would be silly to put that offer back in at that level. And I think we are not alone in that sort of decision. They really struggled what somebody would do with it, with the party wall, with the access. We hold a lot of the aces and the cards with what it can be developed for. And we might even find that if somebody did buy it, actually, do we really want it is the question. I'm not sure we do. If somebody else did buy it, we could end up being able to sell our asset to them for a higher value and balance some of the books from it as well. So I think actually the prudent thing would be to do nothing at the moment and just sit and watch, see what the market does. We're in a position where as a council we're quite efficient, and if we need to react we can, but I think at the moment, even going back on that 900 it was, wasn't it? I think it's too much.
Well, can I just come back?
Yes, please, Councillor Odie wants to say anything, and then I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, yeah, just echo what the town mayor has just said. Also, it's an allocated site, so we do need to be mindful of that. But equally, I think that my own personal view is that the police force are trying to play a game and use us as a bargaining chip for a better offer somewhere else. I'd rather take the offer off the table and see what happens.
Thank you, Councillor Darcy.
Thank you. I was only just to say exactly what you just said. It is an allocated site, and I know what we've seen on social media across the public to see residential housing, particularly in East Court. I know we're doing some of the cards, etc. We're happy not too long ago to put forward an offer that was quite a long way of what the police station was looking forward to receiving at that time. I think that we don't need to be in the position to play games ourselves and putting them. I would rather us be in making a decision as to what we're prepared to take. I understand the points made, but yes, I'm just concerned that it will end up going a lower offer for housing, and and that we'll have missed an opportunity there to secure the whole site and to plot on it what we want, which I think is very valuable as to move forward. So.
Thank you. I mean, all your points are valid, and I think the problem is how much can we really afford it at present, even at what we offered last time, and does it still contain, going back at that offer, be offering more than market value? I don't know if they have taken or do take an offer of the open market, whether we find out what it is and see what's going on, because if they're going to accept an offer of 600,000 and we go in at 650, then that's a different story that you come back to the table with. But if we go in and offer at that high amount, and they could be laughing. So let the rest move forward on this one. Yes, Councillor Odie.
We had the property valued.
No.
Okay. That would say that might be something while doing.
Even if we did, values would change significantly.
I don't think we did. I'm troubled as we had. I know we did St Barnabas, and I'm just now doubting myself as to whether or not we did get an indication on that, and we may have done, and I can't remember. But if we did, it was a year ago when we put the offer in of 900,000.
But again, we put the offering quite quickly, didn't we? So so moving forward, for the transparency of the committee, then maybe before we do anything or thinking of things, I propose that you're at the town clerk to go and maybe get a value for it before we even move any further with this, because it would be a sensible move forward.
Can I just ask, I suggest the same as everybody, to watch and wait. And watch and wait to see what happens, say, with property prices, and they're saying they're dropping quite significantly at the moment. Are we still continuing to get income from the courthouse? Yes. It's still maintained.
Yes. We've still got one long-term, two long-term tenants in there.
Excellent.
Plus the hiring out of other times. So there is an income still coming out of the old courthouse. I've just been advised, so obviously if you do go and get a valuation, that has a cost to it, which isn't in our budget. So this committee's all about budget.
Yeah.
It's a chicken and egg situation. Do we go and get a valuation? Yes, Councillor Gibson.
Just pointing out that the committee papers refer to a valuation from Braes Estates, 900,000.
In that case, we did. In that case, we did.
Yeah, we did.
I had in my head we might have done that. Yes, it's the same people who would have done the one for St Barnabas. That's why. If it helps, Chair, we did do the valuation a year ago, and there was a figure that was put forward for purchase, agreed by this committee. Or might be for council, I can't remember now. And that figure was rebuffed, as you know, straight away. It might be appropriate, perhaps, for me to go back to the agent and advise that the council is not willing to increase our bid at this time. They are to go and do what they want to do with regards to market, but obviously if they're not. If they want to come back to us, the door is still open, and maybe give them that option to say, so if they are in a position whereby they get a bid for 600,000, they may feel that we might be willing to go a little higher than that. Not necessarily go back to the 900,000, but we may be willing to go a little higher. So I don't know if you want me to do that, which keeps the door open.
It keeps the door open, but it keeps the door open, but it's whether we want to spend 900,000. So yeah. Yes.
So I'm taking all the comments about the valuation the last few months, which I agree with, but I've also seen reports for 2022 that East Grinstead had one of the highest property value increases in the country. I don't think we should be shut our eyes to the fact that until recently, property prices have been increasing very significantly. So whilst 1.2 might not be on the table, I think we're kidding ourselves if we think 600 or something like that is like the current market value. It isn't. I don't know what the future holds, but I would support just a revaluation, refresh, and for ourselves to be willing to to discuss what might be acceptable, and as the town mayor has said, that doesn't commit ourselves to anything, but I do think we need to keep ourselves as a potential purchaser for the site, because it's a very significant site.
We also have to be mindful that this needs business plan at the moment. There's no purpose for it other than just a purchase, so therefore there'll be no income coming out of it. So it's not just a case of purchasing; it's what we're going to have to do inside it, and then having the business plan of what we're going to do with it. So it's a big piece. It's a big decision on.
But we don't have a business plan for St Barnabas. We've got.
Well, it is a community use. So this one would it be a commercial use? Would it be a community use? So there's nothing.
I'm confident we could put a business plan together. Subject to putting a business plan together, I would be very keen for us to not rule ourselves out.
Okay. Councillor Odie.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, can I just ask what sort of? I can't remember how much it would cost on a monthly basis for £900,000.
I can only tell you what we paid on a £95,000.
Exactly, yeah, that's just what I was going to
But
base
it'd
it
be a
on.
different term though, wouldn't it? You wouldn't do it over
Term.
10
Yeah.
years.
Be a different
It'd be a 50-year term with it. Potentially.
It
Could
would
be.
be whatever council
be,
had
yeah.
decided to do.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I don't have those figures in front of me as to what it
So
would be, but it
no,
would
that's
be
fine. It could be anything between
a 50,
£6,000 and £15,000 a month almost.
a 50-year repayment over 900,000 is going to obviously be the smallest type of payment you could make, but you are still looking at substantial repayment.
I can get the quotes from the PWLB, the Public Works Loan Board, and email them out if you want to see sort of more detailed figures. I'm happy to do that.
The loan wouldn't ultimately be 900,000, would it? Because there's an awful lot of costs involved.
And I think that's a very, very fair comment, councillor, that as you don't know what you want to do with it, to purchase a building for 900,000, to purchase 1.2 million, whatever you end up buying it for, you're not. That's not what you're looking to borrow from the Public Works Loan Board. You're looking to borrow probably double that with regards to demolish and refurbish or rebuild or whatever it is you're looking to do, not having any idea what that would be. I mean, if you just wanted to buy it as is and keep it, fine, great, but I can assure you that building, having been closed up now for 4 to 5 years, that is going to need significant working on the inside. We know there was asbestos and other things found there as well, so it's significant work, and I think it would be appropriate to tell you that you are not looking at a £900,000 loan.
So we're very split. Yes, I'm just deciding what.
I don't think you've got a proposal yet.
So
So
to me, listening to everyone, and the fear on both sides, there seems to be the fear of losing it and the fear of being I do feel that, personally, I feel that a lot of the decisions that we're making are something very significant. We are making fairly ill-informed at the moment. We're going to go, it could be this much. We know what we're going to do with it. I wonder whether we actually need to, two things. One, keep dialogue with the agent, just so we keep our foot in the door that is there, so we don't disappear completely. And also, behind the scenes, work on a business case, get the figures together, get a costing together, get some proper idea of how much this is going to cost and what we're going to do, and is there a business case to fund this? We might ultimately decide there isn't, and we just pull out completely, or we might decide that there is, and we jump on it more aggressively. But we can't make these. I can't make the decision sensibly without knowing that information.
And whatever decision we make, even now, if it's just to get it revalued and to do a business plan, what we were doing we got it, it is going to be an expense in the budget that we haven't allocated.
Correct. That's absolutely correct, Chair. This property is due to go onto the market. They gave us a month to take this through committee. This is due to go hit the market. So I have to say, time is against you to do all of those things.
Well, we're not
Time
going
is
to be
very
able to,
much
other
against
than saying we keep in with the agent. So that's the only thing we can do to give us time to do that. So we need to ask the committee, really. I'm asking the committee before I put any proposal on the table, or do we want to, how are we going to ask the officers to find within the budget, which was a tight budget that we set, are we going to ask them where to find the money to do what we're asking them to do a business plan and a re-evaluation? Comments, please. Questions, please.
Dan, go later. I realise I've commented a couple of times.
That's no, you carry on. This is.
I don't want to rule us out. So that is my number one. Thing, that I would like us to be close to the agent and be able to be agile, as it were, as an opportunity arises. I also feel that the town would support us on that. Beyond that, I think we have to commit to whatever that takes. So I think probably we should spend the money on evaluation ourselves, so that we at least are in the right ballpark as the agent.
Okay, so
That's probably where
I think I'm gauging the room, so I'm going to try a proposal. Town clerk, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm not sure I am. Okay, so my proposal is that we ask the town clerk to stay in negotiation with the agent, right? And if she hears that there is something coming along, and when it comes along, then it comes back. If we have a special meeting, it comes back that they've been discussed to move forward with evaluation and then a business plan, moving on from that. Please may I have a second for that proposal. Thank you, Vice Chair. All right, I think I've covered everyone's bases in there. Are we happy with that proposal, Chancellor?
I'm not sure at the end of it. So for the town clerk to make negotiation with the agent, if she's made aware of a bid having been submitted, that the business plan, sorry, the special meeting.
Yeah, we would need to get approval to get evaluation. That's what this next
Council meeting.
Whether we put it out, our source and business plan, or whether
Be in house.
Do it in AI.
And valuation.
Harry would love that as a project.
You go, done, go. You go.
Basically, we do everything in
So,
that.
you get a second for that?
Yes,
You did.
Martha. So are there any questions on that proposal I put out? I think I've covered everyone's thoughts. Any questions? Please can we take a vote on that proposal? That's carried. Thank you. Right. So watch this space. Okay. All right. Moving on. Item 16 is Elizabeth Crescent lamppost. West Sussex Town Council has asked us if they can take these two lampposts off our asset register. They want to take them, they want to be responsible for their maintenance and their electricity, so they're coming off our register, and they have a part of their programme of changing them, updating them to LED lights. So we are quite happy for them to be off our register. We no longer have to look after them. All right. I'm going to ask that they, in a moment, thank you. I'm going to ask that we, I propose that we transfer them to West Sussex County Council. Please may I have a second? Thank you, Vice Chair. Now, any questions? Councillor Gibson.
It was simply to say that I should note that I'm a county councillor. Elizabeth Pleasant isn't in my district, and therefore I feel completely unconstrained in voting for us.
You're okay. If I can just clarify, because Councillor Gibson did ask me if the LED light upgrade was something that was happening for the Town Council, and I have since discovered that it is not an automatic something that's happening. The current rollout is for the West Sussex County owned lampposts only. Ours will be following in that we are because there are so many owned by different parishes. County are in the process of putting together a second phase which will bring us in. So we're not part of the original scheme. It is going to cost us, we don't know how much yet, so that's something probably for next year or even the year after, but they are going to come back to us with costs. But at the moment we are not on the rollout scheme, but we assumedly will be at some point.
Want to be in the future,
I'm sure.
Thank you. Can I ask, it's in my ward, have we had any comments from residents on it? Or do they know about it?
I don't think they know about it.
Sometimes
Other than
changing and like can be quite emotive to some people, this the way things are lit.
these two lampposts are on the Twitten, so it's an existing
Okay.
cycle walkway, and that is the improvement to the lights to take into LED is going to make it better. It's going to make it much better, and that's why West Sussex want to do it, because it will allow them to upgrade this cycle path to the safety, to the lit levels that it needs to be. So it's not. That there is no date because of the position of these two lights. This is not going to affect anyone's home. It's not
That's
anyone's
right,
home.
they'll just lit it.
It's just
Be
going to make
better,
it
cheaper.
better for them, safety wise.
Thank you.
There are more directional lights, aren't there?
Yeah.
Which would be better for me.
That's where I am, right. Okay, thank you. Can we have approval for that now, please? Thank you. Oh, thank you. Right. Moving on, item 17, personnel and HR. Two policies are brought forward to the committee. Finance and Central Services team have been reviewing the policies, and there have been no policies in some positions, and so the policies are being made. There is no real toil policy, which is regularly referred to, which is time and lieu, for those who don't know, and it's regularly referred to in their job descriptions, but it needs to be clearer moving forward. So it really is in place for the staff who are asked to help out at events such as East Court Live and other town events, which are accumulating large number of hours in some cases, and this will. And while this is good to have everybody at the events, toil does then impact on the office work. So we need to ensure that the offices are covered, and so it's not all taken off in time and lieu at some other dates. So it'd be sensible provision which allows staff to volunteer but not to compromise the day job. So has everyone read the toil policy that's attached? Appendix J. I'd like to propose that we accept this policy. Please may I have a second? Thank you. Any questions? Okay, all those in favour? Carried. Thank you. And secondly, a maternity policy. There's been nobody on the council had a baby since 1972, I believe.
So.
So there was not actually a maternity policy in place. And since 1972, and even since 1997, when I had my daughter, maternity policies have moved on massively anyway. So the policy is attached as Appendix I. I would like to propose this, and please may I have a second. Thank you, Councillor Spercy. Any questions? Yes, sorry.
Do we have a paternity policy in place?
I think it's coming up in, it's one of those that's in progress, I believe.
It's imminent.
Yes, thank you. So, yes, so the maternity policy is going in place first. Yes, Councillor Gibson.
It strikes me that even with maternity and paternity, we may not have actually covered all the bases in modern relationships.
You've got to start somewhere when you're doing the sex policy.
I just point that out that you know, it might be
There
worth.
may be more coming to the
them.
table, but we're just looking for approval on these at the moment.
Can I
And
clarify,
I know that they
Chair?
are working on policies, especially on that side.
We
of
have
things.
equality policies in place.
And diversity,
and
inclusivity.
diversity in place, and we already have policies around leave with regards to paternity, and actually it's not just paternity, it's much bigger than that now. So there is parental leave, and we've already got that. So small parts already there. This is actually now starting to do the bigger things, if you like. So so yes, we are certainly legally compliant. What we're doing is just making sure that we are doing things to the best practice policies, and also filling any gaps where we discovered them, like the maternity one.
So moving forward, you're right, Councillor, there will be more, and they will be coming to the table in due course. And somebody's spending the day doing policies today, it takes longer than you think to do. So if there's no more questions, if I can move the vote to accept the maternity policies. Thank you.
That's carried.
I'll ask HR and personnel please to look at is Sue is leaving us following 15 years working for the town council. She's not technically retiring, as she's not of that age, but she wants to step away to spend more time with her family as she heads towards retirement. So I would like to thank her for all of her years' service at this point and wish her very well in the future. 15 years is a lovely term to be doing working for us. And there's a card, and if anyone would like to contribute to a leaving gift or sign the card, please see Alison in the office, but not this week, I believe she's actually on annual leave. I would like to propose that we approve the recruitment for her replacement for 25 hours per week. Please may I have a second? Thank you, Vice Chair. Any questions? Move forward to vote then, please.
Carried.
Thank you. Right. Recommendation. Hot desking. There's a big piece of work being done on hot desking. It's pages in your notes, it's actually page 9 to 12. That's how comprehensive the piece of work is. Quite a lot of reading, quite interesting reading. The report, a very comprehensive report, is part of our IT security policy, reduction of costs and improvement of flexibility and efficiency. This is being suggested for. We do have to upgrade PCs from time to time, so ongoing, the laptop will be a cheaper option. It is being suggested for next year's budget so that the committee are asked to determine, in principle, if they want to go this way, and if so, to approve the project for laptops and tablets, and to agree the provision will need to be made in the budget for next year to cover this. I'm going to take each item individually and propose seconds. Right. So recommendation 1. Eastminster Town Council purchase laptops for employees with the aspiration to implement a hot desking system for staff in the future. So now the second for that first proposal. Thank you, Councillor Mrs. Birdie. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Laptops, obviously vital in modern business use, but there are times that laptop screens are a bit on the small side. I can imagine somebody staring at spreadsheets all day or whatever else. So is there also intended to be provision for separate large screens with docking stations and things so that
I did have a conversation with the town clerk this week.
Yeah.
Mr. Quinner, would you like to?
Thank you,
Your
Chair.
big piece of work, so let's.
Thank you, Councillor Barnett. Yes, currently in place, everyone has a screen that can be optimised as a second screen for a working laptop. The only infrastructure that we may need to look at replacing is just a docking station, which would be a HDMI lead to the laptop. That is the only piece of IT infrastructure that we require to use a second screen. Some users even already have a second screen, so this makes the cost of this minimal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Do they have authority, the employees, to take them home out of the office, out of it? Is the security tight on them?
Yes, if it's okay to go, Chair. Yes, that's something that's really critical to this project. Currently, we have a mixture of people using their personal laptops, and that's what we're trying to step away from. These laptops are will be able to be monitored by myself remotely and the IT team. This means that I'm able to access all the security functions. I also can ensure that when people log on to the server, that they are fully protected. Currently, that is not happening because people are using their personal PC and they're using what is relatively a higher risk security software, which is remote desktop connection. This is to future-proof and make the connection that much more secure. It also allows users to not go out and purchase their own security software because that will already be installed on the machine.
Okay, so can I come back on that?
Of course.
So just say someone's travelling down, left it on the train, someone picked it up,
Yes.
you'd be happy that you could actually stop it being infiltrated or whatever the word is, if it was picked up or stolen by someone.
Yes, of course. Currently, I have the ability to stop access to any personal PC as well, just so we can just establish that as well. But even more so with a laptop, I can stop that connection within a matter of seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions? Okay. I propose that we move forward to the vote. All in favour? Thank you, that's carried. So that's all you said. My second recommendation is East Grinstead Town Council purchase tablets for the councillors. I'm sure you've read all the information on that. So I would like to propose that. Is there a second? Thank you, Vice Chair. Right. Any questions? Yes, Councillor Gibson.
I definitely need tablets, as everybody who can hear, but
I'm not providing that sort of tablet.
I've got enough computer equipment that, and I have to say that I do not find tablets that useful. It may well be a function of my eyesight, but I suggest that this might be something which is at the councillor's discretion whether they want to take it up.
Yeah, I agree. Any more questions on that? I think it's something to go forward on. I do think that, I think I can see that people are using their phones for their minutes and things like that. So you're looking at something very small, and it looks very professional for using a tablet rather than something else that's printing as the report says. So it's quite individual done.
I have to say, I'm only looking at this because I've read it properly and I've got my full-size laptop before I came here.
Yeah.
This is just simply know where I am. That's
Yeah,
all.
exactly. Yeah.
There's no chance I can actually read.
I know I was using mine the other day, and you're scrolling in and out, aren't you? So it would be quite handy. So
Chairman, if I just come on that
yes,
bit,
of course.
I mean, absolutely, that will be down to an individual council to determine if they want to take it up or not. We have been very mindful that some councillors have struggled with the email system, and it was thinking about the whole of that together, saying, well, actually, if we could, rather than having to send things out, if we can actually just load it onto a shared drive, which is then available to you through your tablet, then actually it's going to save an awful lot of
No
faffing
printing,
about
it's
that we
there. It's not
generally
an
do.
email. The email will just say, go to this folder in your drive, and everything will be there for you. So I'm in huge favour.
But those who don't want to do it will
We'll
continue
continue
supporting
getting
in
the other way. Yeah, of course, we're not going to miss them out. Yes. So Town Mayor and then Councillor Odie.
I think on the back of the changes to planning, I think it would be really beneficial that councillors can sit there and look at the plans on a tablet. They can zoom in rather than have it on the screen, laser pointer. It'd be straight, yeah, it'd be so much easier. And I tell you what, from when I started as a councillor to this point, I think it's a very positive leap forward.
Yeah, I concur. Councillor Odie.
Yes, sorry, thanks, Chair. Can I just clarify, are we deciding what laptops are being bought? Oh, they were just examples.
I believe not. That's not in the recommendation.
Could I just, yes, this is not to decide what laptops we buy, and that will come back to committee if deemed appropriate to come back to committee. However, what we've budgeted for is the current market leader of laptops and tablets that we think would be the most beneficial for councillors. So we've done this with current pricing in mind. So just be aware for that for the next recommendation as well.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Just a point that a few years ago, with Sussex, we actually invested in laptops for everyone, and they weren't very highly used. I know that we did. I'm not particularly clear from it, but they were disappointed at the usage that actually people weren't using them. The majority of people weren't using them. It's just a point that
It's tablets.
tablet. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's tablet.
I think the choice that Councillor Gibson did say that is some people don't want them, don't need to have one. I think a lot of people now. I mean, there was very much meeting the other night. There was half of the table at planning on laptops and computers and tablets and some sort of people. And I think it's some people work better.
Yes,
than the
rather
other.
than buy everybody and have
Yes,
a huge
they would
investment.
buy
If it's
those
not
that are
going to
signing
be
up for it.
used, it
That
just
would be a waste of money.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was the point.
Yeah. Okay, can we move to vote on that?
Carried.
take that time. Thank you for all your work on that one. I'm going to go third recommendation.
I say something. Is that okay?
On the
After this recommendation, yes.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so point through the recommendations for the new hot desk scheme. So the underspend in the current IT budget and earmarked reserves could be carried into the 24-25 budget for this project, and additional allowances to be made in the 24-25 budget to complete the project. Please may I have a second for that. Thank you, Vice Chair. Harry, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to come in at this recommendation because I appreciate what I'm asking. There is three main benefits that I just wanted to, I know you've read the report, but I just want to say out loud. And one of them I think is really important for our sustainability aims as well, which is that by promoting the use of laptops in the office, we are potentially looking at reducing our electricity costs quite considerably. And just what Julie's written in this environmental implication is that we would reduce approximately 13 times 24 hours would reduce approximately to 8 times 1, which is a significant 304 hours per day power usage. That's significant to the costs. I'd also like to say it improves how we can run the office, the productivity of the office. It means that people can be in reception and be able to be staffed, whether that's with people working from home or on covering holiday leave. And then finally, I'd just like to emphasize how much cybersecurity is moving forward, and this would enable us to have a really safe system that I feel comfortable operating with my IT team. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, anyone around the table have any questions? Councillor O'D?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, just a quick one. I've worked on laptops in the office and at home. They're quite, unless you've got, have we all got the proper sort of stands that you can put a laptop on, so it's eye level and things like that. Yeah,
we discussed it for you. There's lots of health and safety issues they have to do around
that.
As a docking station, also you can plug in your laptop and use your existing monitor, so that they can remain, which puts a larger size on and all that as well. So that can all be done.
Harry,
just as a separate point to that, every time someone gets a new piece of equipment, I have to do an accessibility review on their on what they're looking at, basically, to make sure it meets the standards.
And for those staff who work at home or do a period of home working, again, they do a desktop assessment, and one of the things is about the view that they are on that. So all those things are taken into account. And one of the things that we do is we actually take a photograph of our home setup and send that back into the office, so that we've actually got a photograph of wires, the heights and this, that and the other. So we've actually got all that, which is something that we started doing this year. So if they haven't all done it yet, they'll be doing it when they redo their risk assessments later in the year.
Are there any more questions? Councillor Gibson.
Just in passing, I just wonder if we've considered joining Modern Gov. I don't know if that's possible, but clearly
joining what?
Modern Gov.
Modern Gov.
Yeah. It's it's an app, isn't it? Sorry,
I'm aware.
to me, it's just an app that I can click on and I can see all the papers which have come up. In this case, it's Mid Sussex, so I can select a committee. Like, I don't know.
So it's an app that they've chosen to use.
It's a government-run app that you can post. I just highlight it. Just highlight it as an opportunity.
Any more questions? Okay, can we move forward to the vote then to accept the proposal? Thank you, Karen. Right, that concludes tonight's meeting. So thank you all so much. Our next meeting will be held on the 15th of September. I close this meeting at 8:07. Well done.
Welcome everyone to tonight's special town council meeting. We are starting the meeting at 8:11. Item number 1 is apologies for absence.
We've had apologies from Councillor Whittaker, who is away. That's a personal commitment.
Thank you. Don't need to accept that, do
No, can I also say that Councillor Pond, I believe, is attending on Zoom?
He was.
He was. Oh, maybe not.
I think he might be coming.
He might be on screen then.
Okay, item number 2 is to formally resolve the annual return comprising of the annual statement accounts of 2022-23 financial year, the annual review of effectiveness of internal control, and the annual internal audit report to full council following the formal recommendations of the Finance and General Purposes Committee, agenda items 10, 11, on the 15th of June 2023. Come in. Here he is. I will read that again. Gentlemen and ladies, you may remove your ties if you wish, as it is fairly warm. and jackets if you wish. So I'll just reread for these new councillors that have joined the room. So to formally resolve the annual return comprising of the statement of accounts of 2022-23 financial year, the annual review of effectiveness of internal control, and the annual internal audit report to full council following formal recommendations of the Finance and General Purposes Committee, agenda items 10 and 11 from the 15th of the 6th, 2023. I propose 1 to approve the annual governance and accountability return for 2022-2023 by A, confirming yes to questions 1 to 8 and not applicable to question 9 as set out in the annual governance statement, section 1, containing appendix E of the Finance and General Purposes Committee papers from the 15th of the 6th, and to agree that this is now to be signed by the chairman and the town clerk. May I have a second? Does anyone wish to speak on this? All in favour?
Carried.
Thank you. Thank you. And for the second recommendation, Finance and General Purpose, is B, accepting the accounting statement section 2, set out in the appendix F of the Finance and General Purposes Committee papers of the 15th of the 6th. May I have a second for this? Does anyone wish to speak on this? In that case, then I'll show of hands. And finally, for this item, I would also propose that the council C accept the annual audit report as included in items 10 of the 15th of the 6th. May I have a second, please? Second. Any comments? I'll show of hands then, please. Okay. Item 3 on the agenda is to approve the affixing of the council seal to the title deed of St Barnabas regarding the purchase of this building. We are still awaiting completion of the sale. However, it's expected any day as the council completed its paper 3 weeks ago. However, we are waiting the return from the signed papers. This is to approve the fixing of the seal to the document. I wish to propose this. May I have a second? All in favour?
Carried.
The date of the next meeting of the Town Council is Monday, the 3rd of July at 7 o'clock. I thank you for attending and I close this meeting at 8:15.